There we go. I thought somebody else came in. I was so excited. Oh no, oh my God.
No, it's me taking off my
It's
coat.
okay.
Sorry.
It's okay. It is toasty in here. It is a little toasty. All right, my friends. Welcome to contemporary math. This is supposed to be contemporary math right now. And if everybody could just close their laptop and digital things for a moment, you can open it back up in a minute. If you're taking notes on them, that would be great. So I am Dr. Trenery. You maybe saw the email, I prefer Dr. T or Professor. I had this freshman advisee. I taught RCC 200 last semester, which some of you, how many people were in RCC 200? Cool. Oh, okay, cool. So like you spend this entire month with your professor, you know, in the class, and you get to know each other, and he still is calling me Mr. T, and I was like, it's Dr. T, man. Don't you know who Mr. T is? I'm not Mr. T. I'm Dr. T. So you can call me that, Professor. Just don't call me Mr. T. It's just like I grew up with Mr. T. We're very different people. Let me take off my shoes just to get relaxed. So what I'm hoping, and I hope this isn't too relaxed. I got to keep my feet away from you. Sorry, so we'll keep them back like this. I hope that this is a very different math experience than you've ever had before. That is my plan. And in fact, I'm doing this class in a very different way than I ever have before. We are going to cover stuff that I've never covered in this math class, and let alone in many other math classes. So one of the things I want to do, let me get my little note cards, is I'm going to hand out these note cards, and I kind of want to learn a little bit about you. I'm going to do a seating chart in a minute. But one of the things that makes my classes different, and I do this in all my math classes, is I like to start with a mindfulness practice. Lots of reasons. One is it just resets everything for us, right? You come in from wherever you're coming into. You're coming in here with all sorts of feelings about math, probably. I don't know what those feelings are, like a whole history of things that are making you feel when you think of math. So we are going to start every class like this. And let's begin. And then we'll start doing all sorts of business and stuff. So just sitting in, you can close your eyes. Probably feels good to close your eyes right now. Just take a couple of big breaths. Just let the day out. Settling in to our bodies. Starting to notice what we feel in our bodies. When I say feel your body, where does your attention go? What's the first thing you notice? Pay close attention to that sensation. Process or interpret, just letting those vibrations impinge on your ears. sensation you notice in your body. Since it's the first day, we won't stay here long. Before we leave, can you make a little smile in your mind? Whatever that means to you. Think of something that you are grateful for. Let's just gently open our eyes. Come back together. Cool. Howdy, everybody. I am so grateful to be here, to be able to come teach math, to be in a building when there's snow outside. Whoa, this hasn't happened up there. We'll just get rid of those for a minute. I mean, really, how blessed are we all to be here learning math, regardless of how you feel about math. There's about 1 billion people on this planet who would give anything to be here for the next hour. So we are truly living in the realm of the gods, despite what it might feel like to us at other times. It's a good life. So, all right, that was the first thing I had on my agenda. Sit. Done. Let's talk about what this class is going to be like. Like I said, it's going to be very different than any other math classes you've had. One thing I made a decision on was that there's going to be no exams in this class. Right? Yeah. Right? Okay. And let me tell you the thought process. So I was like looking at the final exam schedules, and I saw our final exam was scheduled for the last day of finals week, Friday, at 8 a.m. And I was like, there's no fucking way I'm at 8 a.m. on the last day of finals week. No way. So you don't have to either. And it's like, okay, so how do we make this work in the class? Oh, okay, no exams. Yeah. So that's what we're going to do. So basically this class is going to consist of 7 different topics. And we got about 14 weeks of class. It's like 2-ish weeks, a topic. I've left lots of space in there so that we can actually do some fun things sometimes. One of the things I want to show you some origami, like not just like how to make, like I don't really know how to do, like make a swan or anything. Some of you probably know how to do that, but mathematical origami, which is really cool and useful, turns out. And just things like that, just bringing some fun things for us to do. I want you to walk out of this class feeling different about math and realizing that it's much different than what you've had before. I will never ask you to factor a polynomial. I will never ask you to factor or whatever. All the shit that you've been through where you're like, I don't think I'm going to do a mathy thing for my life. And that's probably why you're here. If you had a mathematical career on the agenda, you'd probably be taking pre-calc or calculus or maybe some statistics. But you're here because you have a life goal that doesn't require factor. And good for you. because nobody needs math. Right? Like engineers and stuff, but to just have a good life, to live as a happy individual and contribute to the world, you don't need to know how to do this at all. And lots of people who know how to do this are complete assholes, so it has nothing to do with life or success or any of that. So, what I've done is I've picked 7 topics that I thought would enrich your lives. Our first one, I'll kind of go through them. Our first one is going to be logic. So we're going to talk about formal logic, and that's just basically the rules of argumentation and reason that are used in countless disciplines. I'll go through them in a little bit, just give you a little bit of a list. And so we're going to do formal logic, which involves kind of an algorithm. Everything in this class is a step-by-step process you can do. So that's another thing. And if we're going to do it, it's got to be a process that you can follow. You can write down a flow chart and follow the flow. Make a plan, plan your work your plan, something like that. And then we're going to talk about voting structures and how power can be measured in a voting system. That's incredibly relevant, right? Like, how important is voting in this world? And I got a feeling a lot of you here probably are concerned about voting. You're interested in society, right? You're here because you're interested in the human part of the way the world works, and that's a pretty big part. That's how we try to exercise our voice, and it's also how people try to quell our voices by changing those power balances. So then and then we're going to talk about how to divide things fairly. We're going to talk about a thing called fair division. If I've got a bunch of weird stuff, what's the best way to fairly divide these things? Okay, so then there's that. That's like kind of the first half of the course. And then the second half of the course, let's see, how many is that? That's 3 things so far, something like that. Yeah, 3. Then we're going to talk about, I'm trying to do this off the top of my head. I might be a little off base here. We're going to talk about number systems. So what is a number? What is historically, what are some historical number systems? Get a little history in there. What are some modern number systems? Now, for me, this becomes really important because if you've ever done anything on a computer, you've probably seen something like this show up. You've seen some number like that show up somewhere. By the end of this class, I want you to know what that means, because it's all over. Anybody here ever sold an NFT or bought an NFT? No. I've been making NFTs. I'm doing it on like an ecologically sound platform, so I'm not having coal burn to do it. But you're going to be seeing more and more of things like this. This is called hexadecimal. That's something I want you to be able to understand by the end of the class. We end with cryptography. So I want you to understand how people send secret messages and how you can break secret messages, and we'll send secret messages back and forth and all sorts of stuff like that. So that sounds like, that's like the coup de grace of the class. And then there was something in the middle. Oh shit, let's look at the syllabus. Let's take a look. So let's see here. Would you mind hitting the power button, please? Somebody just hit that power button on that thing.
Dr. T, do you want us to ask you if we can use the restroom, or do you just want us to get up and leave?
Just please, oh my God, please go.
Yeah.
Thank you though, I really appreciate your consideration. I'm gonna show you a couple things that you're gonna need for the class. First off is world class, which you probably already have been to. But, oh God, it's gonna make me sign in. Okay. I just want to actually access the syllabus. And I want to show you how to get to our homework system. Another really important thing to me was that you didn't pay a cent beyond the exorbitant whatever the hell you're paying to go to Regis, which is enough. It's enough. And you don't need to buy a math book that you're never going to use again. So, free math book, free homework system, and spent a lot of time trying to figure what would be good for us. Oh shit, I gotta call it. Boom, okay, cool. Now, so let's check out our page. We're just gonna, today's kind of a warm-up day, but we're definitely gonna do some stuff. We're gonna talk about some things that are so here is the schedule right here. Everybody see that okay? Not too, okay. So yeah, logic, voting theory, weighted voting. So there's like a couple different kinds of voting in there. Oh, that must have been the seventh thing that I was thinking about. Oh, no. Then fair division, and then counting systems, and then graph theory. And this is really cool. This isn't like graph y equals x squared and make a parabola. This is like, how do I express relationships between different entities? And it's very interesting and a whole different way of thinking. And then we'll end with cryptography. Hopefully we'll get there. Let's take a look at the class breakdown. So your grade will be composed of online homework, 35% of your grade. So there's like 7 different units. I'm thinking 5% per unit, roughly. Unit skill checks. There will be, at the end of each unit, I'll give you like kind of a take-home assignment. And when I give you an assignment, we can work on this stuff together. I don't ever want you to freak out and think like, oh my God, I'm on my own now. You're never gonna be on your own. We're all together. We'll do this stuff together. I want you to come out appreciative, feeling better about your relationship with this math stuff. So this will be kind of like, that'll be like your exam, but it's not gonna be timed or anything like that. And then participation is 30% of your grade. I'm not doing attendance for pretty obvious reasons this semester. It's a cluster of who's gonna be here when and who's gonna get sick. I mean, I might get sick. But we are gonna do stuff every day in here. And what we'll do is I'll bring in like worksheets, or we'll have an activity. We'll work on them together. You'll turn them in here, and that's participation. So come, ask questions, learn, play. I want you to come and play. If you come here and play, just let your heart be open. It's gonna be good. I got you, right? Don't worry about it. Just come here and play some games, because that's what all math is. It's just games, and they just get fancier and fancier as we move along. We're not gonna get too fancy. So participation is show up, play the games, solid. You got a solid A for that part. I'm not even gonna grade this stuff. Right? It's just like, did you do it? Did you leave a blank? If you left a blank, that's not great. Put something there. Just try. Try is the big way to an A in this class. Okay, so let's see, what else? Oh, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Here, I'll let you read this on your own, because I know you'd like to go home and read all your syllabi completely, right? Like, has anyone in the world ever read a syllabus? Probably not. I don't even read them, and I write them.
Sure.
So let's go back to course home here. You do have an assignment for Wednesday. So here's your assignment for Wednesday. I'll show you how to do it. I want you to go to our homework system. So it's going to be, you go to, and here's all the instructions right here. Let me kill the light just a little bit so you can absolutely see that. So go to myopenmouth.com. Let's do that. Open in a new. Pin that over there. Great. So this is your homework system. What I want you to do is register as a new student. And the way to register for this class is to use course ID, whatever this number is right here. So use this course ID and this enrollment key. That will get you signed up. And then once you're in there, you'll see our class. And you'll see your current homework assignment, which will actually be open at the time. You might be able to actually start on some of that today, but if you're like, wait, what is this? We didn't talk about this. Don't worry, we will talk about it. We got Wednesday, we got next Wednesday, we're all good. This current assignment is due in like 2 weeks, something like that. it'll look copious. It's like 30-something problems, but some of them are going to be quick. Some are going to take a little bit longer. But that's okay. And we might even just have days where we come in and work on homework in here. Work on this stuff. While I'm here, you can ask me and we can get it all done. You know? Are you feeling good?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Everybody feel good? Okay, awesome. Well, while I'm thinking of it, I want to pass the seating chart around. Here's front. Here's you. this is not like a very precise document, but you're like right there-ish. So if you could just look relative to where you are on this chart, that would be great.
Yeah.
I would sure appreciate it. And then there's your first assignment, and that's it. And so I will tell you, there's one thing about me. I'm pretty chill, but then I'll like do this passive aggressive stuff where I'll like look at who logged in before class, and then come in and congratulate everyone who did do what I asked. That's like passive aggression at its finest, right? So I'm not like a chastiser. Just kind of a whatever that is guy. I think we're good. I think that's the deets. Any questions on how this is going to run? You. Cool. Wonderful. Well, let's close this show down here. And I'm going to take a quick picture so that I can. Will not put this on. I'm not putting this on Instagram. I'm not doing anything weird with this picture, so that I can look at that chart and remember who you are. So everybody could just give me hello.
Picture time.
There we go. Yeah. Woohoo. Like lovely. Beautiful.
Frank, you were posing, man, that whole time.
All right.
Oh, go on, okay.
Okie doke. So let's see. So we got that. Okay. Then this, I would like you to, before the end of the class, put your name on there. I don't know, actually, let me tell you what I'm going to do before you put your name on. I'm going to ask you what you hope to get out of this class and what your feelings about math are in general. Does everybody feel cool, like revealing who they are?
Like what way?
In which way? In the revealing way? No, wait, which one was your question?
I just kind of didn't really hear what you said at first.
Yeah, fair enough. So I just want you on this card to tell me two things. First thing is, what do you want to get out of this class? And then the second thing is, what has your experience with math been like?
Right.
And the question was, do you feel comfortable putting your name on that?
Oh yeah.
Cool, all right then.
Do your socks have mushrooms?
They do, they're amanitas.
Oh, very nice.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. We love fun socks.
You are so welcome.
Question number one, how do we feel about it? Question number two, how's our pass with it?
Yeah, let's stabilize this thing. I'm sorry. Just in either order, just put passed so that I know which one that is, and then passed with math, and then what do you want to get out of this class? Let's just actually take a minute to do that right now. I'll collect those and your name. If everybody's putting your name but you, I'll figure it out. So let's just put our names. Let's get this projector. Oh, would you like to keep it?
Do you want me to?
Well, only if you want to. I'll take it back otherwise. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
I got it.
Thank you. Good. Okay. Thank you. Wunderbar. Thought I turned this off. Did not turn this off. Okay. There we go. Beautiful, beautiful. Gosh, I hope I did hit record. Does that look like it's recording? It is. Fantastic. Thank you, sir. Beautiful. Many thanks. Very cool.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
How did you develop this kind of like this type of structure for this class?
Like when you say which structure?
Like, I don't know, in my personal, I mean, I'll expose myself. In my personal past, like, all of my math teachers have kind of been ass. And, like, they, like, they literally give you the stuff to, like, here you go, we're using a backwards classroom, figure it out. And that's not how it works, bro. That's not how the world works.
No, it doesn't, no.
Because
Agreed.
it's just teaching me what to think and not how to think about it. So my question is, how did you come to the conclusion that, like, students, more specifically, like, our generation demographic, how did you develop this type of structure for this class? Like, in a way of, like, reshaping how we're thinking about math.
I guess in general, I've kind of always I kind of don't do things normally in most places. So in general, I'm kind of a rule breaker.
Right. We love that.
Thank you.
Like, there's
Cool.
nothing wrong with that.
Oh, I know.
Some rules need to be broken. How do you think policies get fixed?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
you know?
Exactly. So, I don't know. I think I'm just sick of shit as it normally operates, and
That's fair enough.
and as long as you come out of this class with some kind of appreciation, feeling better. So my goal was mainly that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Okay.
It's been a while. I've thought about it a lot.
That's good. We
But
also love that, so
you're gonna have fun.
I hope so.
I hope that's
Yeah.
vaguely, yeah. Question?
Oh, no.
Oh, it's okay, no, you wanna keep your hand up, that's cool. The other thing is, our textbook is integrated with the homework system. So our textbook is also free. It's an open source book, Math and Society. Read it or don't, it'll be fine. If you end up getting confused, it might help. The cool thing about our homework system is there's lots of embedded videos and links to the text. So if you're like, how do I do this? On a lot of the problems, there's a YouTube video that you can link to. And so there's tons of resources in here to help you, and they're all free. And I like that very much. Do I have everybody's card? Any other questions on just procedure? Yes?
How'd you become a math teacher? Sorry, guys.
No,
I'm
it's
not,
okay.
I'm not honors kid, so I'm kind of a nerd about it.
You're an honors kid?
Like, by definition, like, I couldn't fall asleep last night because I'm excited for the first day of school type stuff.
Okay,
Like,
cool.
I'm that kid.
All right.
That's what's I've become, like my mom essentially, which, you know, we all run from that, but then we all become it slowly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but I'm that kid, so I just like asking questions. I like to know
No,
more.
I appreciate
So,
that.
just a general.
When I was young, I wanted to be a magician, not like David Copperfield or David Blaine or anybody like that. I wanted to be a wizard. I spent a lot of time. I was really into like magic and stuff like that. So I was like, doing magic, or whatever that was worth. And so I've always been intrigued by that stuff. I really dug symbols and magical spells and just the cool glyphs and things that one might see in a magical tome. So I was really into that, and then I started learning about math, and I was like, oh my God, math is magical language. Every symbol in math is filled with thousands of years of history and packed with meaning, and then I ended up being good at it. And
Surprise!
yeah, surprise. And I always wanted to be a scientist too, but then math just seemed like the cool way where I didn't have to make any assumptions about the world. I could just do math. So I got my PhD, and then I actually went to IBM. I actually worked at IBM for 7 years before I came here. Yeah. So I worked at IBM. I was in their research I was doing research for printers and high-speed color printers and all this shit that I'm not going into. IBM and me were like oil and water. And I hated it. And then I got a chance, and I was like, you know what, screw this. I'm going to go teach. And I found Regis, and I loved it here.
Has it been a good experience for you thus far? If you don't mind me asking, in like how your relationship is with the university, since like you are kind of, like I can definitely tell just based on like your persona and your personality that like you're definitely a little bit less traditional than other like professors in the very best way. I mean that in the very best way. So like how does that look like in terms of your relationship as a professor with the university? Because I know like Regis, as wonderful it is heavily focused on like policy and rules and like that type of thing. So I'm just wondering how you kind of like get to be yourself. I mean, I love Regis, but I also have encountered like tough policy. So it's like.
Yeah, well, I've done a good job at what I'm supposed to do, which is teach.
Fair.
And I'm now a full professor, so I've gotten through 2 steps of all that stuff, and they really can't fire me, and I can say whatever I want, I can wear whatever I want, and I do. So,
Yeah.
It works out, and nobody tells me not to do what I'm doing, and that's good enough. I'll just keep cruising, you know. So I get to be myself here, which was the problem at IBM. So that was not me.
Follow-up question, just out of curiosity,
Yeah.
do you still practice magic?
No. I'm a Zen practitioner, which I mentioned in the email, and so like practicing Zen is like that's what I do now. And we can talk about that later as the semester goes on, but no bullshit. I'll talk about that. I'm just not into bullshit anymore.
I feel.
Yeah. But does this sound all good?
Yeah, this
is
sounds
great.
all good. I'm just a curious person,
I
so.
appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I was
very
also the
much.
one who like emailed you right away.
Yes,
so.
I do. I was like, that's
My
a good
apologies
email.
for my stern.
You weren't stern. But your email, honestly, was fundamental in me deciding to go online. I mean,
Good.
not online.
Glad to hear it.
So we're doing this in person. We're going to do this as long as we can, right? There may come a day or two where we're just going to be online for some reason or another, but primarily we're just going to be here in person. And I agree with Abigail. She sent me an email early on saying, I think my generation is sick of being online. I feel ya. And you do better with in-person interactions. I get that. And I wanted to give that to you. So
Thank you.
you're welcome. So here we are. So if I want an online day in the future, you'll like give me that too, right? We'll be like simpatico.
Yeah.
Cool.
We love
It's-
the principle of reciprocity.
Yes, yeah, I'm not gonna go into that. We'll worry about that if it ever comes. There might be some problem medically for me. Okay, so let's see. So, blah, 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 blah. Let's see. Oh my God, I've been rambling for half an hour. We haven't done anything. Let's talk about logic. Let's talk about the history of the world. That sounds like a good place. So I'm going to make certain assumptions. You don't have to agree with them. But there are assumptions that a lot of people agree with. So let's say this is a calendar. This is Jan 1st right here. So let's say this is the Big Bang. That's or whatever. This is when the universe started. I'm working with what cosmologists tell me. I'm not taking them. That's a different mythology. I'm working with that. That's the mythology I'm rolling with. So here is December 31st. And in December 31st, all of human history, the first hominids actually walked on Earth at about 2 p.m. So this is all of time. This is called the cosmic calendar. And Carl Sagan created this thing. He's a great guy. He's gone, but he was a big influence of mine. So all of time, since the universe began, our ancestors, around 2 p.m. on the last day of the year, walked in a form roughly resembling our current form. Probably a lot hairier, different jaw structures and all that kind of stuff. And then, yeah, so that was like 224. At December, on this day, at 11:59 in the evening. So at 11:59 and 32 seconds.
Why so specific?
Well, because they're working on, like, each second represents an incredible span of time, like hundreds of thousands of years. So
Gotcha.
yeah. So at this time, agriculture started. This is when people started growing plants and making farms. Look at what time this is. This is in the last minute of the cosmic calendar representing all of time. So there's a lot before that. So right around how this is when agriculture started. And agriculture on the earth, agriculture started in the Fertile Crescent. So the area that's now Iraq, that whole area is the birthplace of civilization. So in the Fertile Crescent, right here, that should probably be capitalized. I don't know how to spell crescent. There we go. I think I do know how to spell crescent. That is around 1000 BCE. And at this point, this is when we think civilization started. So those first civilizations were the Sumerians, the Babylonians, and then after the Babylonians, the Akkadians. But this is all, like I said, in around where Iraq was. These are the people that are the true founders of what we're going to study in this class. You often go back and you hear about some like white dudes like later on out here. Of course you do, because they wrote all these books. And I'm going to tell you about them. But this is where thought started. This is where laws were written. The first laws were written by the Akkadians. And you ever heard of Hammurabi's rules? There's a giant code book. So the Sumerians, the Babylonians, and then again, later the Akkadians, created laws. Formalized laws. Put them on the books. You had to obey these laws. What is a law? So a law is a rule for if this happens, then this will follow. So this idea of if something, then something else. This is called a conditional statement. The first ones of these are thousands, 4,000 years, 3,000 years old. Now, I just wanted to put this out there because if you go read through our book, if you search for the history of logic, you're going to find not this. But if you dig deeper, this is what you're going to realize, is that the ancient peoples, these Babylonians, they were unbelievable. They were incredible scientists and mathematicians. The Babylonians figured out how to compute the motion of Jupiter in the sky using calculus. You know, we think calculus is like, oh, last 1,000 years, calculus, Isaac Newton, and all that shit. No. These people with cuneiform tablets understood deep mathematics and were doing it and making incredible prediction. What would it take for us, right here, to figure out how to compute the position of Jupiter in the sky? Could we do it in our lifetimes? I couldn't. I wouldn't even know where to begin. Well, I would, because I learned all the shit that has come before me. But given scratch, it's like, I don't know. How do I even predict, where a bird's gonna fly to? Let alone Jupiter in the sky. So, amazing peoples that don't get enough credit for where we're at. So let's see here. Okay, so that's around 1000 BCE, and then let's come out here on this timeline. So we're in this last few seconds of the cosmic calendar here, and then a little bit later on, quite a bit later on. So I got to check my notes here, but around 600 BCE. This is when the Greeks and the Romans started investigating geometry. They started actually trying to figure out very abstract things. One of the first Greek geometers was Thales. And Thales actually did something really crazy. Thales discovered how to prove, and actually discovered, in fact, that if you take a circle and you draw a right triangle inside, or you draw a triangle inside of it. So you make this the hypotenuse, and then any point on the circle itself has to be a 90-degree angle. So those have to be perpendicular. Thales proved that. Long time, 600 BC. That's crazy. What does it take to do that? To even abstract into this general, what is a circle? Well, it's a perfect thing. If we do this, we got this. So some of the mathematics that we still study today are this old. And then after Thales, there was Euclid. How many people have heard of Euclid? Heard of Euclid? What have you heard about Euclid? There's a lot of stuff to hear about Euclid.
There is a lot of stuff to hear about Euclid, but mainly, I learned about the history of Euclid in it's a street in St. Louis named
Yes,
after
it
a
is.
mathematician.
I'm
So
from Belleville, Illinois.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I know Euclid from some stories of that, and in terms of what he proved. I don't remember exactly what he proved because, like I said, my teachers were ass. But I have heard of him. That's got to count for something.
Yeah, that counts for a lot. You just got an A in the class, you're done. No need to even do anything else. All right, so Euclid wrote the first textbook. The first textbook was a math book. Pretty cool. So Euclid wrote the first textbook, and he systematized logic to be able to prove things. We're not going to prove anything. Don't worry, no proofs will be done in this class. But Euclid wrote the first math textbook, systematized and extended all the logical thinking that was created back here in the Fertile Crescent. All right, so let's see. Okay, so simultaneously, I actually, one of my things getting ready for this semester was I was like, you know what, I want to learn more about the history of logic all over the world before I come in and tell you this. So, as a person who practices Zen, I also know that the Buddhists and the Hindus were also creating a whole different kind of logic on their own. So simultaneously, this was maybe around 150 Common Era. There was a Buddhist, Indian philosopher, who formalized a very different kind of logic that we don't use at all today. And I want to start here as a preface to us getting into what we will study. So Nagarjuna proposed a really interesting structure. And it was called, I gotta write it up before I say it. That's it. And that's the Chadaskity. also called a tetralemma. And it was, so that's an M. It was this fourfold structure to try to understand the nature of truth and reality and being. And it went something like this. You take something and you say, and I'm trying to slowly get us into this, let P be some statement. And the statement could be something like this. For example, P could be, I love you. And not you directly, I mean, I love you. I do have love for you, but I'm not like trying to make a statement right now. So B is a statement, I love you. And then Nagarjuna said, well, there's actually a bunch of different ways this could unfold. So this could be true. I could love you. So P could be true. Or maybe not P is true. Right? That's also a possibility. I could, what's the opposite? What would that be? What would not love be? Hate, yeah, that's like in the extreme then, right? Like sometimes you hear people say, indifference is the opposite of love. But let's just pretend. So not P could be true. So in other words, I could be, I hate you. But I hat you. I could put a hat on you as well. So, but that's not how human hearts work, right? Once you love someone, or once you hate someone, man, things are muddled. Things are twisted up. Think about a family member that you have had trouble with. You love them. You hate them. So Nagarjuna said, well, there's this other possibility. It could be that P and not P are true. Simultaneously. I love you and I hate you. That could also be true. And usually that's the case. Right? If we actually hate someone, we probably love them at some point. And there's some kind of mix in there. And then, so this, or not this. And not this is neither P nor not P are true. So let's write this out. So this one here is, I love you and I hate you. Love you. And I hate you. I've been there. This is like divorce, something like that. Neither P nor P, not P are true. This is, I neither love you nor hate you. I'm just kind of somewhere in the middle. And so this logic of Nagarjuna's, man, that's like the logic of life. This is the logic of the heart. Because nothing is clear cut. Nothing is true or false. Everything is muddled and complicated when we think about who we are as people. But this isn't going to be the logic we study. I just wanted you to be aware there is a subtle logic out there that actually accounts for what it is to be a human relating to the world. Sorry, I just gotta check my notes here. So, that's Nagarjuna. Wow, we'll see what we get done today. I'm having fun. I hope this is vaguely interesting. You probably know more about this stuff than you did when you came in, so I guess that's something. We're going to go back to the Greeks now, because the Greeks are where our work is going to start. We're going to go back to Aristotle. And Aristotle came up with formal logic. Aristotle came up with formal logic. And then this logic was developed further by future Greeks. Let's see, let me get my names, list names out here. Wow, I had a lot of fun with this. Okay, here. So Aristotle, formal logic, and syllogism. Have you heard this word before? Syllogism. This is reasoning. So syllogism is something like this. All dogs have good hearts. True, right? Man, you meet a dog who's not good, it's because somebody screwed that dog over. Dogs have good hearts. They're born with good hearts. They're pure creatures. All dogs have good hearts. Sam is a dog. There's no Sams in there, right? It's cool. It wouldn't be bad. It wouldn't be an insult. Sam is a dog, so Sam has a good heart. Putting these two things together into one. So Sam has a good heart. This is the kind of reasoning that we're going to be doing, but in a very mathy way. In a very mathy way. So let's kind of get into what we're actually going to be doing. And I already alluded to it when I talked about conditionals, and I want to start there today. So today, just for a while, and then we'll keep going on with this on Wednesday, let's talk about what are called conditionals. And this is a statement: if something, then something else follows. We're going to spend the rest of today talking about this. If Sam is a dog, then Sam has a good heart. That is right here. This is syllogism. This is a simple form of it. So how would I write this? Well, we would make it a little more abstract. I would write if, and we're going to use letters. This letter represents a statement, like Sam is a dog, or all dogs have good hearts. So this is a statement. And here's the thing that makes it a little more simple than Nagarjuna's work: a statement that is true or false. So we're going to pretend like the things we think about in this class for a while are either true or they're false. This actually works in reality. If you're a lawyer, this is how you argue. If you're doing, let's see, I made a list of all the disciplines that use this kind of reasoning. So let me just get my little list out here. Yeah, in law, in history, economics, electronics, linguistics, psychology, engineering, and certainly computers. So this kind of reasoning is all over the place. It's not pointless, even though it seems to not exactly apply to our hearts. It's the way the world actually gets built and argued about and sometimes taken apart, sometimes put together. So we would say here, if P, then Q. And these are both statements that are true or false. So now, we're going to take this, starting off like this, getting a little more abstract, and I'm going to symbolize this whole process like this. And this is where I want you to start, like, paying close attention and asking if something doesn't seem right. So when you see this means, you read this as, if P, then Q. Another way to say this is Q follows from P. That's another way to say it. Another way to say it is P is sufficient for Q. Sufficient. If it's true, then it means Q is true. So let me say this even more precisely here. This statement could be thought of as an electric circuit. So P is a switch. Little switch. So there's electric power coming through here. And then over here is a light bulb. So just pardon my light bulb drawing. Here's a bulb. There's a switch. And this is Q. So when I draw this thing, Does it make sense that if I flip the switch, the light comes on? I mean, theoretically, we're not like literally trying to build a circuit here. But if I flip this switch, power flows. So if P is on, power flows, and the light bulb goes on, and Q lights up. Does this sound reasonable? Okay. So watch what I'm going to do here. I'm going to make this a little bit more abstract. I'm going to make a little table over here. So over here, I'm going to make switch position and light state. So the light state's on or off. Is it going to be on or off? Going to be open or closed? Now what we're going to do is think of all the possibilities that this thing could be in. So the switch could be closed, and the light could be on. The switch could be closed, and the light is off. It's possible. We don't, looking at that picture, not necessarily, but hold on. The switch could be open, and the light could be on. Switch is open, light's on somehow? How could that happen? How could that happen over here? How could this switch be open but that light's still on? Like in reality. What could maybe be happening that I'm not drawing? What if there was another switch that I didn't know about? So say there's another switch over here. Somebody else in another room's got a little switch. They can flip that thing off and on all they want. I got my switch. Somebody else, there's a secret switch I don't know anything about. So it's possible that the switch is open, but the light is on because there's another control, and then the switch could be open and the light could be off. So is this possible? Okay, so let's go through all these things. Are these actually things that could happen in reality? So if the switch is closed and the light is on, does that seem like that could happen? Yeah, switch is closed. I'm looking at the damn picture. Close that switch, light goes on. So yes, true, could happen. Could that switch be closed? Look at that picture, but the light is off. If I close this, but there's power flying here. So if I flip that, power's now flowing to the light. What would happen to the light? Is the light going to be on or off? If I flip this switch, juice starts flowing and the light comes on. So, if I flip my switch and the light is off, that's not possible given that picture. So not possible. This is a false scenario. This couldn't happen. Could the switch be open, but the light is on?
Are we still including the hypothetical?
We
switch?
are.
Then yeah.
Then yeah, because somebody else could have a switch. So this could happen. Yes. If the switch is open, could the light be off? Yeah, it could be, right? Because there might not be another switch, or it might be open, or something like that. So this open, no lighting, totally possible. So yes. This is called a truth table. Now I'm going to make it more abstract. Watch this. So right now we're just setting up some rules of a game we're going to play. And I'm trying to motivate them. You don't need to understand this, but it sure helps. So what we're going to make here is a truth table. Watch this. Here I'm going to have some switch P, some switch Q, And then I'm going to say, does that switch turn on P, turn on Q? So I'm taking this. So closed is going to be false. So here, let's make this F equals off, T equals on. So I could have the switch off, the light. Oh wait, sorry, close. Shit. Close
Yeah, I was
is on.
confused
Yes.
for a second.
Yeah, sorry. Switch is on. So F equals off, T equals on. Just like that. Oh, I already got it up there. So if the switch is on and the light is on, that's a real possibility. If the switch is not on and the light is on, that can't happen. That's a false scenario. If the switch is, oh shit, am I screwing things up here? Yes. Wait, sorry, I apologize. Oh no, I'm not, I'm sorry. On, off, I apologize. That can't happen. If the switch is open, so it's not on, it's off, false, true, that can happen. Because there could be another switch that flips on the light, and I could have my switch open, the light could be off, and that's completely reasonable. So right now, this thing here is something I would put in your notes. This little table right here. That might be a little muddled. You might be like, what the fuck just happened? We're gonna work with it. We're gonna work with it. So I would keep that guy down. This is the truth table for implication. Now, another thing, keep in mind, like perspective in this course. If we're looking at something and you're like, oh my God, I cannot do a whole course about this stuff. That just starts sounding like mush. Good news, you got like three classes per topic. Shit starts sounding weird, don't worry. In 2 weeks, it'll be gone. But I was trying to motivate this thing right here. So this is the truth table for P implies Q. And that light switch thing is really the way to think about it. And let's actually do some work together. So we're going to have to talk a little bit more. But maybe we might not even get this started today. Okay, so this is if P then Q. And you make a little note of that to yourself. This is if P then Q. That's how you read that. P is the switch that turns on Q. It is a switch that turns on Q. So there are variants of this statement. And I want to talk about those. And then I'm going to show you how to fill out that little table at the bottom. But we might not get to that till Wednesday, and that's totally cool. So the original statement is if P, then Q. There's variants on this, and we're going to talk about those. So the inverse of this, the inverse statement, is if Q, then P, where you flip the two things. That may or may not be true, but that's what we're going to learn how to investigate. We're going to look at this kind of like we're lawyers, investigating what is going on here. What is the truth of the matter? The converse statement, let's see. Wait, did I get? Oh wait, this is the converse, sorry. This is the converse. Sorry about that. The inverse statement is if not P, so if P is not true, then Q is not true. So when I write this just means P is not true. This is the opposite value of P. And let me explain what that means just a little bit. So if P is true, not P is false. If P is false, not P is true. And the way I would write this, let me rewrite this, a little bit of notation. If you write this little symbol that's a bar in a line like that, that's the word not. So if you look on that sheet that's there, and let's not do it yet, but you'll see that symbol across the top row. And then we've got one more. So original statement, converse statement, inverse statement, and then this is the most useful, what's called the contrapositive. And the contrapositive says if not Q, then not P. Okay. So let's take a look at this sheet that we've got in front of us to make some sense out of this. Because right now it's seeming very abstract. Let's make it less abstract. How would you use this with English sentences? So check out this first problem here. Consider the statement, if you play with fire, then you risk getting burned. So I'm going to put that up there. So if you play with fire, then you risk getting burned. So this thing right here, we'll just call that, say, P. And this is Q. Those things just represent sentences. It's just a little box that we can tuck those sentences in. We're just giving them labels so we don't have to keep saying the sentence. So now when I say Q, I mean you risk getting burned. When I say P, I mean you played with fire. Just shorthand. These are just shorthand sentences. So the original sentence that I gave you is this one. If P, then Q. What is the converse? So I want you to take a minute and just on your own, if this is the original statement, what sentence is the converse statement? So just don't say it out loud, but look over here at the rhythm. This gives you the rhythm and the plan for how to convert that into the converse statement. So this is the original. Let's do the converse. And then if you think you got that, you know what I'm going to ask next. What is the inverse and what is the contrapositive? Let me get out of the way. Look at the formulas. Literally, you can just replace P and Q with those sentences. And that's the trick. That's all there is here. There's nothing deep, nothing to compute, just matching up what P and Q are to convert. Take a look at my little chart here. I do like calling out people, but you know, if this is something that stresses you out, send me a little note and I won't call on you, or I'll do it secretly so that you don't feel literally called out. Now I'm confused by the seating chart. You're Lydia. Are you confused too? Wait, are you Bella? Okay, cool. You're straight. Okay, good. Bella, Enrique, Stephanie, Brooklyn, Rose. Rose. Bronchutia.
It's Italian.
It's beautiful, yeah. But Brooklyn is just your name,
Yeah,
right?
it's just
Okay,
Brooklyn.
cool. Abigail. Frank, James, Brady. Awesome. Cool. So we're almost out of time. We can just kind of take this. Lydia, how do you feel about the converse?
I put if you risk getting burned, then you would play with fire.
Yeah, how about that? Converse is, if you risk getting burned, then you play with fire. It sounds weird, right? But it is what it is. So this is, you flip the P and the Q. See how this rhythm works? They just trade position. So if you play with fire, if you risk getting burned, you played with fire, or you play with fire. It's not changing to the Enrique. What about the inverse? What would that sentence look like?
Couldn't it be, because it's the opposite of P?
Yes. So if, what's the opposite of P?
So P would be you get burned?
Oh, so P is you play with fire. What is the opposite of that? If I said, you play with fire, and you said, that's not true, what would you say?
Oh, you'd be fine.
You-
Kind of?
You don't play with fire. You're thinking so deeply about this. It's literally just put the damn word don't in front. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
So not that. So if you don't play with fire,
You don't risk getting burned.
you don't risk getting burned. Exactly. That was Abigail, right?
Yes.
Yes. You don't risk. Let's finish this up and we'll be done. And then, Ray, my friend, what is the contrapositive?
If you don't risk getting burnt, then you don't play with fire.
Yeah, that's it. See how that worked? So it's not this thing implies not this thing. So let's write that out and we'll call it a day. So if you don't risk getting burned, we'll finish this up when we come in. You don't play with fire. All right, my friends, so hold on to these. I'll collect these on Wednesday. Let me just say something. Thank you for being here. That might have gotten a little weird and fuzzy and mind-numbing. I haven't taught this stuff in a long time, so I apologize if it was like that. We're going to put everything will gel. So just take it easy. What's your assignment for Wednesday?
Register for the math thing.
That's it. Register for the homework system. That's it. Beautiful. See you on Wednesday, friends.
Thank you.
Thank you, thanks. See you on Wednesday.
Thank you, have a good one.
Thank you, you too.